The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
Let's go, baby!
Are you ready for a break?
Yes.
Are you ready for a break?
Absolutely.
Ready for a break?
Yeah, and so much for that.
It's time for The Break on DallasCowboys.com.
We were on a break!
With Nick Eatman, David Hellman, Ambar Garcia, and Derek Eagleton.
It is Thursday, October 4th, 2018, season 14, and episode number 53. Welcome to another edition of The Break, live from the SWBC Mortgage Studios at the Star. We got a lot of great information for you guys today. We're getting you ready for this Cowboys versus Texans game. This is going to be a fun one. I love when it's Texas versus Texas because everybody's in the same boat. Everybody has that same Texas pride. It's Texas OU weekend. Everything's good about
Which
this
boat
week.
are you really on?
Okay, wait,
What are you talking
real,
about?
just real
Who's your
quick,
from
just
Houston?
take a guess at who's the Houstonian who went to Texas in the room today. Yeah, for
What?
real.
There
I'm
you go.
You guys not excited about this weekend?
I mean, I'm excited about every Cowboys game, but I don't.
I'm excited. Well, you're a Louisiana guy.
I-
You don't get
yeah,
it. You're
no.
not a Texan.
I don't feel any extra juice for this.
All right, well, you can just
I'm
lay out
sorry.
on this part while
All right.
I'm saying this.
Might
but-
be.
No, and you're not a Texan either, so you can lay out too if you want to. Nick,
You'll feel it when you get to the stadium, though.
Yeah.
it's gonna be one of those. It's gonna be a
be
really
fun,
good
man.
one. A
It's
good
Nick
gonna
is
be
not
fun.
atmosphere.
Texas either.
No, I mean,
Where are you
he
from
grew up
again?
in Texas.
I grew up here. I've
All
lived
over
here.
the Southwest.
But I've lived in Texas
Nick moves around a little bit. He gets around.
more than
Yes,
Sorry, I didn't mean it like
he's
that.
been in Texas for a long time.
double any other part of my
Right.
life. So yeah, 20.
So you're a Texan.
Definitely, and you appreciate games like this just because this isn't really like OU Texas. This is more like Texas and like Texas Tech maybe
Yeah. Well.
because Texas Tech.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Kind of. Yeah.
Shots
and it is.
fired.
No, it honestly is though.
Sorry, I
and I
mean-
noticed that living in Houston all my life. This rivalry, if you want to call it that, between Houston and Dallas is way more on the Houston side than
Right.
it is on the Dallas side. On the Houston side, people look at the Cowboys and they hate, if they're not Cowboys fans, because there are a bunch of Cowboys fans in Houston, but if they're not Cowboys fans, they hate the Cowboys. I mean, hate the Cowboys. I don't think Cowboys fans really look at the
don't.
Texans and are like, we hate the Texans. They're kind of like, okay,
you know,
yeah.
I wrote a
we
column.
kind of hate them because they're around the corner, but I don't think it's that big a deal to Cowboys
I
fans.
wrote a
that
column
rivalry.
about that yesterday, how they should play every year, and I think it ranks
I'll
8th.
create one.
It ranks 8th on our list of top 10 like columns from yesterday, or stories from yesterday. Like,
Yeah.
who cares?
But I'll tell you this: if
No,
if the NFL took your idea and they said every team in the league is going to play a rivalry game every year, that's
Yeah.
going to be every year you play it,
Way
and
overdue.
you're looking for people in your geographic area or have some connection to you, and you play that game every year, I guarantee you within a matter of 5 to 10 years, it'd be
yeah.
a very strong rivalry. It'd probably be as big as some of the division rivals
Yeah.
just because you have that in connection. There are people you know personally who are on the other side of that
Just
rivalry.
think
That's
about-
what creates great
just
rivalries.
Think about every office from Dallas to Houston
Yeah.
that's got fans that are, it's like a big game. It's like, and it happens with there's a Giants fan somewhere, whatever. But for the most part, if you're in Austin, I would imagine a lot of Texans fans, a lot of Cowboy fans. So it's kind of just creates an excitement for the week. But you'll feel it when you go to the,
Yeah.
I almost said Reliant. What are they calling that?
NRG.
Energy.
You know, if I was the NFL, I would even make it like I would make those games all played on one weekend, and I would call it rivalry weekend, and I would play that thing up and have so much fun with it. Fans would have a great time with that.
A lot of people don't want to hear this, especially Cowboys fans, because those NFC East rivalries are so important. And I'm from New Orleans. Like Saints fans live to hate the Falcons.
Yeah,
but
everybody's got one.
But I would do away with divisions, and I would, if it were up to me, I would have every team in each conference play everybody. So you play 15 games against the NFC, and then you have a permanent AFC rival. So for the Cowboys, it could be the Texans. For the Steelers, it could be the Eagles. For the Giants, it could be the Jets. Just way fairer.
They're
That
not
way,
going to get rid of the divisions.
No, they're not
There's
going to
too
get
much
rid of the
history
divisions
there.
for sure. But that's what I would do.
Yeah, but I think it'll be fun this weekend.
But-
I
Wait,
don't
is
think
this
Hold
the
on, no.
freezing press box?
Yes, bring
Oh
a
my
jacket.
God.
Bring a jacket.
was
No.
Houston?
Oh.
No, yes, they were in preseason.
It was
yeah.
so.
Oh my! Yep, I hate
yeah,
Houston.
you wanted. Yeah, you were up there freezing.
That stadium
I had a
sucks.
jacket on the.
I'm bringing a parka or
Yeah,
like
forgot
something.
about that.
It's
It was
cold,
cold
up there.
I thought the coldest press box in the stadium was Detroit before that, or New Orleans.
New
Those
Orleans
two
is
are pretty
brutal.
cold, but no, it was
Nah,
cold in there.
miserable.
Well,
yes.
they both have something in common because you're both
Sitting
like
up high?
600
Way up by the
yards.
AC vents.
Hope you don't have a problem with heights if you're working in the press box in those stadiums.
You think this game will be more entertaining than the last time we were in Houston?
Yeah, yes.
Watching, yes.
Really?
If that's what you're talking
I mean,
about.
like, is that what I was asking? Is that what
Yeah.
you're talking about? You're talking about the last game, like regular
Well, I
season?
mean, there was something that happened in that game that actually was meaningful.
Yeah, Brett Maher made the team.
When he made the team, he made that kick, and it's like, you know what? We should cut Dan Bailey. I think that happened somewhere.
You literally think they were sitting there watching that game and somebody said, you know, this Dan Bailey guy may not be as important to us as.
I think it was like, you know what? Remember what we talked about the other day? I think maybe we should do that. Maybe.
It's kind of like that look where
Could've made it from
you're
60.
sitting there with people, friends, and all of a sudden you both kind of look at each other like,
Yeah.
like,
Yes.
Yeah.
did you just see that? Maybe we need to rethink this a little bit.
I think that's exactly what happened.
I do-
It doesn't change the fact that game sucked.
That game
Did.
sucks.
I hate that game every year, though. The fourth game of the preseason is the worst. It really is.
Brutal.
All right, let's jump into it, though. We're talking Cowboys, Texans. Before we get to Dave's breakdown of the Texans' defense versus the Cowboys' offense, we got to go through the injury report. Yesterday, the guys that did not practice included Travis Frederick, which was expected, Sean Lee, which was expected, and Terrence Williams, who we've been talking about. I don't know that there's any more clarity on why he's missing. It's just
Dave?
not injury-related. Do we know anything more?
Sort of.
right.
We know he's not practicing again today, and we know that they're now saying that his foot injury has been re-aggravated, the one that he had repaired in the offseason.
So is he going to be added to the injury report as a actual injury rather than not injured?
I wouldn't be
related?
surprised if he's got foot next to his name this afternoon instead of not injury related.
So question, did he re-injure it not practicing?
I think he re-injured it. I think it's been something that's been aggravating him, maybe. And I mean, and credit to Terrence
Then
Williams.
why would they be talking about personal issues?
That's therein
Exactly.
lies the rub, Amber. There's about 19 things going on with
Dave's
this
like,
guy.
how did I end up being the guy that has
seriously,
to
like,
answer for all
Tell
this
me,
stuff?
Dave,
How is
why
it-
are you
yeah.
saying
How is
personal
it
issues
my-
and now talking about a foot?
That's actually a pet peeve of mine is when I tell you what the Cowboys are saying and you come back at me like it's my fault.
Right.
Like I'm not
You're
the
just
reason
the bearer
for
of
this.
bad news. Right?
Literally, it's my job to report the news to you. And I'm telling you, they're saying he re-aggravated his foot. There's still speculation that he might be suspended. There's speculation that it's not speculation. They said he was dealing with some off-field stuff. Jason Garrett said that himself. I don't know. And I don't remember.
So when I said Dave, like I didn't realize it was gonna be that much fun.
I do not remember so much uncertainty and speculation surrounding a guy that has contributed so little to a season.
Yeah.
Except for maybe when they signed Bryce Butler 2 weeks ago and everybody lost their mind.
Right.
I don't know. I think I said this yesterday. Like something's got to give, and it will eventually. And that doesn't necessarily mean Terrence will go to IR or be suspended or whatever. Like maybe this will resolve itself and he'll continue to play. I don't know, but this limbo's got to end at some point.
I have a question. Let's say it was the suspension thing. If he was put in IR, what does that really do?
It takes him off the roster.
Takes him off the roster, but they could still suspend him
Yeah.
I mean, if you're suspended, you're off the roster too.
because you're not getting paid. And
When you said they can suspend him, you talking about the NFL, or the
NFL.
Cowboys?
I mean,
NFL can.
yeah, I don't think the
Cowboys
would.
couldn't. Yeah.
Right.
I don't know. I
It
don't
would
know.
have to be conduct detrimental to the team for the team to do.
Right.
I was just wondering what would the benefit of doing that move?
Knocks
would
you off,
be-
it knocks him
It's
off
a
the
way to
roster.
get him off the
Yeah, get
roster
the
if they
roster
don't think
spot.
he's going to contribute, especially
and still hold on to his rights.
yeah,
Right.
And if his foot is bothering him, he can rehab it without doing this week to week, like, well, what can you do, what can't you do, type of dance.
But if he's suspended, that changes a lot of things because of he's got guaranteed money, and if you're suspended, I think some of those guarantees or really all of them will go away.
That's a league rule, right?
Yeah.
That it gets voided.
Right.
Okay.
So if you that happened to Zeke, his guarantees were voided. So if he doesn't have any guarantees on the contract, then it makes a lot more sense to part ways with him because you're not feeling any kind of financial hit.
Fun little, sort of changing the topic. Our esteemed colleague Rob Phillips just told me no Randy Gregory and no David Irving at practice today, which I don't have an answer for that as of yet.
Because Randy Gregory was not on the injury report yesterday.
Yes, and Randy Gregory was not on the injury report yesterday, and Jason Garrett said this morning that they're going to see what more David Irving can do. So
And maybe they decided there's not more he can do.
maybe so. Those two guys, you never
Have nothing in common.
Those two guys, you never know. You just never know. So, sorry, I don't have more information at this time.
Thanks, Rob.
Maybe
keep
they
an eye
showed
on
up
it.
after the 15 minutes.
Maybe.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's
That's
true.
a
It could
good
have.
pernt because
Could have.
that happens a lot.
Yeah, no doubt.
Things we see.
Keep an eye on the old injury report, probably
go.
at about 3 p.m. Central Time.
Let's talk about some of the guys that were limited that we think could play. Cheeto has an ankle. He was limited. Cole Beasley with an ankle. Malik Collins was limited yesterday with an ankle. DeMarcus Lawrence with a shoulder, and Antoine Woods with a calf. Let's talk particularly about Malik Collins, who's missed a couple games here. What's the expectation for him? Is the expectation that now they're trying to work him in to see if he's ready to go?
The word coming from them is that he did pretty well in practice yesterday, step at a time, see how he responds to the work, see if he can do more. I think he did more yesterday, as I understand it, than he has at any point since he got hurt. So see how he responds, and it's probably going to be one of those typical wait and see on Friday type of deals.
How many games has he missed? How many games has he missed in his career? I know he's had a couple different injuries. Is this a situation where he's been injured and not missed games, or is this a situation where he's missed an inordinate number of games in his career?
My memory might be hazy, but I don't remember him missing games last year. I remember,
Year before that.
He didn't miss any games the year before that. He broke his foot in the offseason.
Was it in the offseason? Okay.
And then was
That's
back
what it
in
was.
time for the start of the regular season.
Okay. So he's just a guy. He's
This
had
is
some
3
injuries.
times, right?
He's
this-
bad.
He's had some
Injury.
injuries, issues, and that's what I was trying to
He's
get to.
battled
is-
injuries
and
every step of the way.
Even though he's had injuries, it sounds like from what you guys are saying, he hasn't missed games very often, which is a good thing. That means that either he's able to play through pain, or the injuries have not happened in times when they affected his ability to play.
He had not missed a game until now. Okay. He played all
That's
16
actually really
first
good.
two. Yeah,
it's really good.
So, which it tells you it must be somewhat severe if he is missing time.
Yeah.
So, and judging by the size of the wrap on his knee, it sounds not great. So, but if you're limited on Wednesday, that's typically a good sign. So we'll see.
So for all those guys, you feel pretty good about their ability to play this weekend. Cheeto, Cole, DeMarcus, Antoine.
Yeah, Antoine's the other one, and that's which the fact that David Irving was not at practice today is not awesome. If he is going to miss, because that's Jason Garrett. Not only I think Antoine Woods did pretty well yesterday, but again, you see how he responds. He's definitely not out of the woods, so that defensive tackle situation is kind of dicey. Probably needs one of those guys to step it up this week.
All right, let's take our first break. When we come back, I want to jump into the Texans defense. Let Dave give us his breakdown. We'll talk about some of these players on that defense that are real difference makers. J.J. Watt, Jadeveon Clowney. We'll talk about some of those guys when we come back. This is DallasCowboys.com radio.
If you're like me and you love... if you have a thing, then cutting the cord is scary. But then I found out I could switch to DirecTV Now and still get the live sports I love. No satellite needed, no bulky hardware, no annual contract, just...
Get the live sports you love. Try DirecTV Now for $10 a month for 3 months. Visit DirecTVNow.com. DirecTV Now. More for your thing. That's our thing. Use code REALDEAL. Limited time. Price for a little package. After 3 months, renews monthly at full price. Currently minimum $40 unless canceled. Prices may change. New subscribers only. Cancel anytime. Content varies by package and may be limited. Restrictions apply.
Star Sports Tours is the only official fan travel partner of the Dallas Cowboys, offering exclusive game weekend travel packages with sideline access and photo ops with current players, alumni, and cheerleaders. That's not all, though. You'll get to talk X's and O's with Senior Director of Player Personnel Will McClay, and of course with yours truly, me, Brian Broaddus. You can trust the official fan travel partner of the Dallas Cowboys, and with us, you'll travel like a pro. Visit cowboystravel.com to book your travel package today.
Want to use what the pros use? How about the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black? Right now, you can get the Jack Black Playmaker, a curated collection of Cowboys locker room favorites for just $10 with free shipping. The Playmaker includes 4 Jack Black skincare favorites, plus a full-sized Intense Therapy lip balm and a Cowboys can cooler. Go to getjackblack.com/Cowboys and use the code word Cowboys. The Jack Black Playmaker, $10, free shipping.
While a player can look good on paper, it's when he's out on the field that you really find out what he's made of. That's why the Cowboys rely on more than stats and scouting reports when building their team. When picking a tractor, it's why you should rely on more than specs and features as well. You got to take it out and put it to the test. The Cowboys did when they named John Deere their official tractor. To experience one for yourself, visit your local Texas John Deere dealer or go to myjohndeeredealer.com/football.
Back to the break.
The Star District offers over 30 restaurants and retail spaces at Dallas Cowboys themed campus. It's the perfect place to shop, dine, and bring the whole family. For more information on all that the Star has to offer, visit thestarinfrisco.com. Restaurant Week is actually coming up too. It's coming up. It's actually now through October 14th.
Yep.
So it's restaurant.
You like food like
weeks.
me? You need to be out here.
There's some good spots up here.
There are. Nick likes the sushi. I do too.
Sushi Marquee. It is a very good place.
Good stuff. Good stuff. All right, let's
Dave
jump back
likes
in.
it too.
Sure do.
It seems like there's an inside joke there.
Dave
though.
likes
There's
it.
Nick's the implier.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
always.
There's an inside joke there somewhere because of the way Nick said that.
Dave
but I
likes
guess
the
it can't go on the
sushi
air.
at Sushi Marquee. That is a fact.
All right, I'm
That's
going to
a
leave
fact.
that alone then. We'll talk about it off air.
Absolutely.
And we'll decide whether it should go on air later.
No, it's good. It's a good place.
All right,
it's
good.
It's especially if you're trendy and you like the 80s and Back to the Future and clips and stuff like that. Sushi Marquee.
All right, good. All right, Dave, it's time for you to give us your breakdown of this Texans defense versus the Cowboys offense.
Well, what did we say yesterday? We're like, why is this team 1-3? Okay.
Well, time to get to it.
Let's go. I mean, I don't want to dog them too much because there's some talent here. I'll start with the scary part, which is obviously the front. Nobody listening to this needs an introduction to J.J. Watt or Jadeveon Clowney, and they are playing like you would expect them to. Watt is right.
So Watt's back. Watt's back. He is what he was before the injuries.
I don't know if he is the guy that I would have voted for NFL MVP in 14 or 15, was it? I don't know, when he was literally just trying to drag them into the playoffs on his own.
When he was destroying offensive lines.
I don't know if he's that guy, but he's still damn good, which is the point. And they don't need him to be that guy because Jadeveon Clowney can be that guy. He's got sacks. He's got oh my God. You remember the play in college where he just single-handedly blew up that Michigan guy?
Yes,
he
I
can
love that play.
still do that in the pros, which is terrifying. These
He's
guys,
huge, man.
He's 6'5", 270.
He's huge.
And that's really the thing that you notice the most when you watch them is, okay, he's an end or a rush linebacker, but he does everything. Like, he plays on the right side, he plays on the left side. They stand and I don't just mean they stand him up as a linebacker. I mean, I watched this guy blitz through the A gap and just bulldoze the Colts center. And Nyheim Hines tried to block him because it's a screen pass, and he just knocked him to the ground and then chased Andrew Luck out of the pocket. And Hines was the guy that was supposed to get the ball, so he's scrambling to get it. Like, he just blows plays
So
up.
blockers are basically just speed bumps for him. You just kind of go over them and keep going.
Yeah.
right.
And the scary thing for
Good to
me, given what we've talked about with Cowboys' inability to protect and Dak's pocket awareness, I know I wrote this down. Where is this stat? They have contributed on 5 fumble plays and recovered 4 of them, I believe. They did it.
Those two guys?
Yeah. They get in. There we go. 4 fumble recoveries this season, and they did it.
That were created by those two guys?
Yeah. Well, one of them was the Colts center screwed up and snapped it on the ground, but literally Clowney was like wide 9 on the left side or on the right end position. Ball hits the ground underneath the center, and he cut through 2 blocks and dove on it in the end zone and scored a touchdown. Like, he's just unbelievably athletic. I think if the Cowboys are going to have a problem, it's going to be because of those 2 guys, which you didn't need me to tell you that. Good news is the secondary is very bad. Like, they're not good at all. They are 27th in the league in passing defense, 288 yards per game. And that is actually inflated because they only gave up 110 passing yards to none other than Blaine Gabbert because Marcus Mariota was hurt and couldn't go. So against good quarterbacks, they gave up 267 to Tom Brady. They gave up 265 to Eli Manning, and Andrew Luck threw for 437 on them. They're not good. I know Jonathan Joseph had his moments in the past. He looks like he's lost it.
He used to be a really good cornerback.
He doesn't look good anymore, at least not on the tape I watched. Aaron Colvin is the guy. You remember A.J. Bouye went off to Jacksonville, and he's part of that great defense. Aaron Colvin's not bad, but these are just not lockdown guys, and it shows. Like, they give up separation. They have to, they play soft because they have to, I think. So you see, Colts receivers are just running 10-yard digs where the corner's 10 yards behind them because they're so afraid of getting burnt over the top that they're just giving up chunk after chunk. And then, I'm the guy hammering on the safety situation. Tyrann Mathieu definitely hasn't been bad. He's got 23 tackles, 4 pass breakups, and a pick. The pick came on a deflection. You can definitely pick on this guy. Like, he hasn't looked like this all-world safety. I think, he's like 5'9", and it looks like it when he tries to go up against bigger guys. You can box him out. So I still think it would be nice to have him on this team, but he's not he's not Ed Reed. The secondary just gives up a ton of plays, and it offsets their front seven because they have big linebackers. Merciless is a guy everybody knows. He kind of functions as a rusher too. And then Zach Cunningham is a guy that Brian really loved in the draft coming out of Vanderbilt. He's a tackle machine, but him and Benardrick McKinney have not tackled that well. So yeah, they're number 9 in run defense, but I think that's more because teams aren't trying them that much, honestly, than because they're like this juggernaut. So yeah, I don't know. Y'all got
what kind of backs have they run up against so far this year?
They went up
Obviously
against
the Colts.
They went up against Saquon. Yeah, the Colts have nothing.
Yeah.
And they've been stout. I mean, they're allowing 94 yards per game, but I don't think I buy that they've just been in a game where they were getting pounded.
Did Saquon get over 100 against them?
You asked me a question I don't have the answer
so sorry.
to. No, you're okay.
Before the show. But I guess the point of what I'm trying to figure out is when you talk about the running backs, sometimes this early in a season, the numbers can be a function of who you've played way more than your abilities, right?
No, and that's I think I said this last week. If you're up at the top of the stat standings after 4 weeks, that doesn't mean a lot to me. If you're at the bottom, it means a little bit more because it means you're getting exploited. But if you're top 5 in rushing defense after 3 games, that just might mean you haven't run up against the right matchup yet.
Right.
Or you could be really bad against the pass. We saw that last week. I mean, with the Lions, they were the worst run defense in the league, but they were the best in pass. And I think we kind of saw that. We saw why they were worst in the run, but I mean, they really weren't that great in the pass.
Right, but we also saw that was why. I mean, that's why the numbers are what they are. Because
you don't have to
like
pass.
Cowboys, you don't have to pass. Run the ball.
Okay, so Saquon Barkley ran 17 times for 82 yards and a touch, which that's 4.8 yards per carry. He was fine. That's kind of my point is I respect him, but the linebackers don't tackle as well as they should. And Clowney specifically, not so much J.J. Watt, but Clowney's a rusher. Like, he's not this all-around great run defender, pass rusher guy. So I think, regardless of what the stats say, I think you can run on these guys.
I just think this is going to be one of those games where it will be a shootout. I've just thought that since it came out on the schedule. And I just think, run, pass, whatever, I think it's going to be one of those games that kind of has a life of its own. And
you see a lot of big plays type thing.
Yeah, and I just see, both teams kind of, making plays. Doesn't mean that they're throwing for 300, 400 yards. I just think that they're going to be moving it up and down the field. It should be fun.
Yeah.
I will say, and it goes back to my point, we're going to find out if this receiver core is good enough to take advantage of these guys because, like I said, these guys were playing soft against the Colts. The Colts also have T.Y. Hilton. And he
can't get behind you.
He abused them, specifically Jonathan Joseph. He was 2 steps behind him all day. So, but are the Texans that afraid of what any of these guys bring? Like, maybe this is a game. Hopefully, Tavon Austin always has a role, but maybe even Deontay Thompson. Speed. Nick always talks about it. Will they play that soft if they're not afraid of you? That's my point. So, I'll be interested to see how that goes.
Talk to me about the matchup of the offensive line versus these pass rushers, Watt, Clowney, Merciless. How do you see those matchups playing out?
That's the funny thing is, well, first, they're so multiple. Like, they're going to line up in a bunch of different spots, but Watt has become the left end at this point. So, that's Lyle Collins' guy, which that sucks because we always talk about, in this day and age, you think your right tackle gets this easier matchup. Not really.
Not against the Cowboys.
Do they line up Clowney on the same side as him often?
No.
Typically, it's opposite side?
They usually, Watt is kind of fixed on the left side more often than not. And then Clowney, he plays on the right a lot. He's going to be Tyron Smith's guy, but also they're going to line him up. They line him up basically at will linebacker sometimes. And that's my point. He's not like DeMarcus Ware on the corner in a 2-point stance. He's back behind the nose tackle like a regular linebacker, and he'll just shoot through the gap. he's such an athletic freak that they can do all kinds of stuff with him.
He hasn't faced Looney before, though.
Well, that's what I was going to say.
True.
That's where it does beg the question. The most inexperienced part of this line now may have to deal with him shooting the gap right there where Williams and Looney are.
Right.
And last week, the offensive line played extremely well. That also could be a function of the fact that they were facing a defense that didn't really have this, certainly didn't have these kind of pass rushers coming against them.
They didn't have their two best pass rushers.
Right.
And the Texans have their two best pass rushers, and who may be two of the best in the league.
Yeah.
I would bet you Clowney or they're both going to make a play in the backfield or like have the opportunity to make a play. I mean, you think about the famous Romo spin against Watt. And I think, Dak and or Zeke is probably going to have to make a nice play to get out of that. And that, Dak's pocket presence is something we talk about a lot. He's going to have his head on a swivel. Don't get stripped like that. That's what's, like I said, that's what scares me is like they'll knock the ball out of your hand or just blow a play up to the point where remember what game was that? It was the Giants game where they ran the reverse, and if not for Zeke making a heads up play, Landon Collins probably blows it up. I'm worried about something like that happening here.
Tell me where this defensive front can be exploited in the run game. Now, we've talked a little bit about the pass game. We talked about their secondary. If you wanted to run against this defensive front, where do you think there are weaknesses where maybe the Cowboys can get some traction?
Up the middle, so DJ Reader and Angelo Blackson play tackle for them. It's a 3-4 front, so tackle and whatever. But they're not anything special to me, and they're nowhere near as athletic as Watt and Clowney. Like I said, I don't think the world of Clowney is this great run defender, but I wouldn't want to run too much to his side lest he
does he tend to be overly aggressive to where maybe you can exploit that?
Absolutely you could. And I'm I think Brian actually wrote today hammer him as much as possible with Tyron Smith and wear him down because he's going to be trying to rush and maybe he won't have any energy. I still don't like the idea of putting the ball near a guy with that much athleticism. And like I said, Merciless and Cunningham and McKinney, they're very impressive and they hit hard when they hit. But much like the Cowboys in the first few weeks, they don't wrap up, they haven't tackled as well as they're supposed to. So I think you can get them just by running right at them, to be honest with you. I don't think you have to razz it up too much. Okay. Another point I wanted to make, I wonder, another guy we talked about in the draft is Eric Reed's little brother, Justin, safety out of Stanford. He's gotten some reserve playing time kind of as a third safety. I wonder if they might try to give him more playing time because Tyrann Mathieu's been fine. Kareem Jackson hasn't been terrible at the other safety spot, but again, they give up too many plays in the secondary. So I have my eye on him as maybe an X factor that they try to use more because he has looked good in the short amounts of playing time that he's gotten.
So if you were going to pick one wide receiver, and I'll go around the table, if you're going to pick one wide receiver this week, that against a secondary that may be more susceptible to big plays or just plays, which receiver do you think actually has an opportunity here to make some plays for the Cowboys?
I like Gallup. I think he's a guy that we've already seen go down the field a little bit. I think they'll start doing that a little bit more. He's got once Dak kind of figures him out a little bit better, and vice versa. I think that has a chance to be a steady playmaker for this team. So I like Gallup.
We've seen him downfield quite a bit. Mm-hmm. I mean, that seems to be something they're really working on. So
I think you could say that about any of these guys, really. And my biggest problem is I'm not being a fan of this whole rotation thing because I think it's messing up the rhythm. They're not in there long enough for them to get going. It's you keep rotating them, and let's see, with any of these guys, they come up pretty quickly, and it doesn't allow them to get going, and that's a problem for me.
If they were throwing the ball down the field more, I would definitely disagree with you because they're you got guys who are doing things all over the place, but they're not. There's really no reason to, in my opinion, to rotate as much as they do.
But they do. The thing about it is, it seems like, to me anyway, it seems like they've been doing that for years. Even when Dez was here, they seem to rotate their receivers quite a bit. I mean, there would be times when I'm looking for Dez on the field and he was on the sideline, and it just seemed like they kind of rotated guys around. I mean, you had guys. I mean, you had guys like 85. Noah Brown. That's on the field, pretty significant amount of snaps last year and year before. I don't think that this was ever in the last few years. I don't think it was ever a situation where they had their two main guys and they were always on the field at wide receiver.
Yeah, I agree. But those were guys that were pretty comfortable already with this offense. I feel that these guys, being as new as they are, it still may take him a little bit to get accustomed and used to what this offense is. And the fact that there's so much rotation, I think it dang it, I can't think of the word. It just messes up with the progress of them being out there and making plays. Especially with a guy like you talk about Michael Gallup. He's a rookie, and you need to allow him. And we've seen him make plays, so we know it's in him. But you need to put him out there more and give him more chances to allow him to do those things.
I don't think I can go with you on that. Like Noah Brown he definitely was on the field, and especially when they wanted to run the ball, and Bryce Butler's had his moments. But if you go back to like 16 and 17, the last 2 years Dez was here, I bet him, Terrence, and Beasley blow everybody out of the water in terms of snap count. I don't know.
I'd have to go back and look. It may have been my own perception just looking at the game and watching the game and noticing noticing that there were times when there'd be times when they'd have 13 personnel and it would be Noah Brown as the wide receiver.
What do you do in 13 personnel?
I get it. All I'm saying though is maybe that changed my perception. That was what affected my perception of it. I was asking the question, was this something that's been happening for years? Because it seems like to me they've been rotating receivers here for a while.
I don't think it's remotely
Let's play a game.
Similar to what it is.
Let's play a game.
All right, let's play a game.
4 games into the season. All right, these are your leaders in snap count for receivers. 154, a 153, and then the next is a 119. Who's at 154?
Cole, I would guess.
That's your guess?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
Who's at 153?
Deontay Thompson.
What's your guess?
Is that right? It can't be
I
right.
would guess that.
Hearns.
Oh, I forgot about Hearns.
It has to be Hearns.
Hearns is at 153.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, who's at 119?
Is that Deontay Thompson?
Probably Deontay.
Gallup at 119.
Really? Okay. I thought Deontay Thompson was hitting a lot of
Thompson's at 110.
Okay.
And Tavon Austin,
freaking 65. Yeah. Not even.
65.
Holy crap. I didn't look that up.
Even.
65.
And
that's so dumb.
Terrence Williams, 39. And Bryce Butler,
0.
tied with us.
I'm shocked that that Gallup's count is that high, to be honest with you. I would have guessed it was like 80 or 90.
So really, I mean,
Running
when you look at it
backs,
from that standpoint,
220, and 23, and a 24. What do y'all think?
I bet you. I'm just
Zeke's at 220.
Thank you.
Right.
I was just trying to figure out.
Quarterback.
Sure?
I'm just trying to. Oh, okay. I was gonna say Jameis doesn't have that many snaps. He's probably got 10.
I mean,
who's the other running back? He said there were 2 running backs that were in the 20s.
Rod Smith has 23.
Yeah, and then
Jameis has 23.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, my bad. Okay. I was thinking of something else.
I'm looking at tight ends.
Yeah.
229, and then Blake Jarwin has 75 snaps.
So Swaim has that many more than the next
229.
closest guy?
Yeah.
It surprises me that they haven't that wouldn't be number higher just because of them running 12 and 13 personnel.
He's on 92% of the offensive snaps, which is more than Zeke.
Swaim. Yeah, Swaim.
He's playing every down
it's Dak, the
He's the new
5
Whitney.
linemen.
I don't have any ill will toward Jeff Swaim, but I buried my dream of 10 personnel the other night because literally like 5 times during that Lions game I was like, oh, they're doing 10. They've got 10 on the field, and then Swaim would motion, and I'm like, never mind, that's Jeff. My bad.
Yeah. But he's not doing a bad job.
No, he's not doing a bad job.
I
just would like to see it. I think it could work. I do want to go back though to the point that you're trying to make. I agree with you. I would like to rotate these receivers less. But you hear the phrase like eating up cushion, like it's like the guy's got 10 yards of cushion and it's just gone in an instant. Mm-hmm. Who's doing that on this team? That's like Allen Hurns is number 2 in snap count. I don't trust that he's going to do that. Yeah. Maybe Gallup could if they gave him a chance. And that's my point is Deontay Thompson and Tavon Austin certainly could.
Yep.
So maybe
and they're getting
well, they are. Maybe this is a game where you change that.
Maybe.
Hey, they targeted Kiki Kuti 15 times in his first game as a pro. You mean to tell me that Tavon can't do that? I don't buy it.
Man, I'm just hoping that maybe they have some grand design and they're saving him for it. I don't know. I can't figure out
for the Super Bowl.
No, honestly,
They're
right.
preserving him for
I
the Super
can't.
Bowl?
I just can't understand why you can have a guy that's a weapon like that and not figure out a way to get him more involved in what you're doing.
Me neither. And again, I think Jeff Swaim has played pretty well this year, but you got to have a tight end. Apparently, you just have to.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Let's take our final break. We'll come back. We'll get some questions. Give us a call. The number is 888-855-2297. Again, it is 888-855-2297. This is The Break.
While a player can look good on paper, it's when he's out on the field that you really find out what he's made of. That's why the Cowboys rely on more than stats and scouting reports when building their team. When picking a tractor, it's why you should rely on more than specs and features as well. You got to take it out and put it to the test. The Cowboys did when they named John Deere their official tractor. To experience one for yourself, visit your local Texas John Deere dealer or go to myjohndeeredealer.com/football.
Want to use what the pros use? How about the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black? Right now, you can get the Jack Black Playmaker, a curated collection of Cowboys locker room favorites for just $10 with free shipping. The Playmaker includes 4 Jack Black skincare favorites, plus a full-sized Intense Therapy lip balm and a Cowboys can cooler. Go to getjackblack.com/Cowboys and use the code word Cowboys. The Jack Black Playmaker, $10, free shipping.
Star Sports Tours is the only official fan travel partner of the Dallas Cowboys, offering exclusive game weekend travel packages with sideline access and photo ops with current players, alumni, and cheerleaders. That's not all, though. You'll get to talk X's and O's with Senior Director of Player Personnel Will McClay, and of course with yours truly, me, Brian Broaddus. You can trust the official fan travel partner of the Dallas Cowboys, and with us, you'll travel like a pro. Visit cowboystravel.com to book your travel package today.
A man's Stetson doesn't just protect him from life's elements. It projects an unstoppable and legendary spirit, just like the men wearing silver and navy on the field every Sunday. Since 1865, Stetson hats are American-made with pride right here in Texas. They are still the official crown of all self-respecting Cowboys. And Stetson is proud to be on the field with America's team. Find Stetson hats in the Pro Shop or at Stetson.com today.
Back to the break.
Welcome back to the final segment of The Break, live from the SWBC Mortgage Studios at the Star.
Sometimes, I don't mind saying it on the air. Like, you watch tape to watch the opponent, and sometimes you can't get over what you're not supposed to be looking at, which in this, the Indianapolis Colts just do not have much talent. Obviously, Andrew Luck's a good player, even if he's coming back.
Is he back? He had a huge day as far as numbers are concerned, but is he back to being Andrew Luck that was one of the better quarterbacks in the league?
I don't think so yet, but he threw for 437.
Yeah.
I think he's on his way. But
by the time the Cowboys play him, he'll be in full stride.
He's got T.Y. Hilton, and then just not a whole lot else to work with on that whole offense.
No running back, offensive line questionable.
He got the Notre Dame kid in there as a rookie. Not much else. Naheem Hines is a guy we liked in the draft. He's a third round pick though, and
he's not doing anything.
They're poor guy. He's supposed to be like a third down back, and he for lack of a better option, he's basically their feature back. Which I don't think you want to do that with it. No, it's not working. And I think T.Y.'s got a hamstring now, so he might not even be available.
That sounds about normal.
Ugh. Gross.
Well, Cowboys will have him in week, I don't know,
15,
sometime in November.
13, 14.
It's in December?
Yeah.
Or November?
Mid-December. It's one of the last 3 games.
It'll be cold.
Yeah.
Good things you're indoors, so it doesn't really matter. You'll be in the big barn out there in Indianapolis. So, and Indianapolis, isn't that one of those cities that has all the tunnels where you can basically not go outside ever?
You could, but I always hear stories about the combine, how Dave and Brian are all in the snow. And
Brian, but that's a Brian.
That's a Brian.
I'm going to tough it and walk through the snow.
Yes, the feats of strength.
Right.
If Brian can impress you by doing something stupid and tough, he's going to.
Just stick it right up your rear here. Here you go.
There we go, right there.
Sir.
That's impressive and tough.
It is.
And stupid.
For the person who Well, anyway, let's leave that alone.
Okay.
All right, give me a Tommy John read. Can somebody give me a Tommy John read?
Oh, yeah. Speaking of impressive and tough, Tommy John. Who's calling? I'm trying to do a Tommy John read, seriously. All right, Tommy John is backed by the best pair you'll ever wear, or it's free guarantee. So if you don't think it's number one of all time, call them, email them, send it back, and they will
Wash them
gladly,
first, then send them
back.
back.
Because you got to know that why it's not good.
No.
Shop exclusive Cowboys underwear at TommyJohn.com/Cowboys. You get 20% off your first order. I actually went on the website the other day, and I'm looking at it, and you have to go up there and type Cowboys up there, and because it says 15% off your first order if you go to TommyJohn.com. But if you type in Cowboys at the top,
You get an extra 5.
Extra 5.
That's
got
what I'm
5
talking
on
about. I got 5 on it.
Loonies.
There we go. All right, let's jump back in. We got a phone call here from Chris in Indiana. Chris, what up?
How's it going, everybody?
How you doing?
Do it better.
Got a observation. I know a lot of fans always talking about picking up these high price wide receivers and stuff like that. But do you think our offense, the way it's made up and how the offensive coordinator and the head coach likes to do things, do we really need that high price wide receiver when it looks like the plays and the scheme would not benefit those guys? Like, I don't think somebody like Sammy Watkins that would have came in the offseason would have a great year just because of the way everything is schemed and how we use our wide receivers. There's really no movement, no bunching, no people running behind the line, getting lost and kind of getting open and stuff like that. It just seems a little basic as far as what they do with the receivers that I just don't think bringing somebody high dollar, high quality in, they would benefit us.
All right.
I agree.
Thanks for the call.
I agree with that call, and that's kind of one of the reasons why we've said that we don't know if Dez is really making much of a difference. And Sammy Watkins, you're right. I don't think would, and that's a real, to me, and maybe the caller's not saying it, but to me that is a nice way of saying your quarterback's really not that good. If your wide receivers, if a really good, talented, high-priced wide receiver is not going to come help the offense, then that, to me, I don't know if it's scheme or not. Is the passing game going to utilize a really good wide receiver in this offense?
Are you really saying that he wouldn't benefit them, or is it that for the cost, it's not worth the benefit? Because I think there's a difference. I really do think there's a difference there. I don't think the Cowboys are saying if we had a great wide receiver, if they had, you name it, Antonio Brown or Odell, whoever, certainly they could help this team. The thing is, for the price of what you'd pay for that, I think what they're saying is strategically, we think we'd rather put that money into an offensive line and a running back than we'd rather put it into a wide receiver. We think that's a better strategic decision for us.
Yeah.
That's at least my impression of it.
I'm actually writing about this in my column right now, and I feel weird saying it because obviously the offense has been bad for 3 of the 4 games, 30th in the league in passing. I'm not trying to suggest that it's good, but are the Cowboys overly surprised by what they're seeing? Because this was the game plan. It was complimentary receivers who are not going to be too upset that their stats suck, basically. I mean, that's what it comes down to. And center everything around your running back. That Detroit game is what they want it to be, is 3 or 4 guys finish with 20 to 50 receiving yards, but it's really all about Zeke. And it hasn't happened in the first 3 games, but I think that's really the design that they had in mind. And I think in that regard, sure, it hasn't been as good as they wanted it to, but it has followed the overall blueprint that they set up. Now, whether that was the right strategy, I don't know. We'll see how it works out over 16 games. But that's what they put in motion this whole time, for this season at least. I mean, they can change it in the offseason, but
here's the part that worries me, though, about that whole thing is you look at a team like the Rams, and somehow they're able to get it all. They got the quarterback. They've got really good receivers. I think their 3 top receivers are probably better than the Cowboys' best receiver. They've got an all-world running back. They got a good offensive line. They got a great defensive front. How is it that some teams are able to get it all, and the Cowboys have to choose which they're going to do and not do?
Couple thoughts come to mind. What I agree with Nick to a degree that it's an indictment of quarterback play to some degree to say that a good receiver can't help you. But I think the Rams have a better scheme and are better coached to exploit mismatches and things like that. Like, you watch them. Cooper Kupp's a nice player and Brandon Cooks is good too. But, like, I don't think that it's these receivers making Odell Beckham one-handed type plays. I think they're just schemed well. And I also think it's amazing.
Do you think those receivers are comparable to the Cowboys receivers?
I think they're more talented.
Okay.
This is one of the 3 least talented receiver groups in the NFL, probably just on talent alone. But again, are we surprised to hear that? I remember
No, it's just when you say it, it's like it hits home. Like
ESPN did a thing in the summer that pissed everybody off, where they ranked the skill players, not including quarterback and running back, so basically tight ends and receivers. And Dallas was like 30th, I think. Everybody lost their minds, and I was like, "What are y'all mad about exactly?
What exactly?"
This is exactly what it is.
Yeah.
And on top of that, the other thing with the Rams is when you have a number 1 overall pick quarterback playing like it on that deal, you can afford a lot of other stuff.
Yeah.
And
if the Cowboys can get their quarterback to play up to that level, now they would have the benefit of that. And now they really could use those receivers and maybe make those receivers a lot better than where they are right now.
If it was up to me, and I've said this
a
while back, I would have a number 1 receiver in this offense, because Dak, at this point in his career, he does need the extra help from another elite player.
Guy? That's nice to say. Where are you going to get that guy? It's not
the
Dez,
question.
Right?
I'm not worried about that. That wasn't the question.
That has to be a part of the question. Because that was the problem this offseason when you got rid of Dez. There wasn't a lot.
Hey, that was not the question. It's not who are you going to get.
No, but I think it has to be a part of it, because this offseason there weren't a lot of guys out there in free agency that you look at and say, he immediately comes in and becomes a true number 1 in this offense.
Are you
I don't
saying
think those guys were necessarily available.
That's the closest thing you've got to a number 1.
Okay, Dez was not working out. He wasn't. For whatever reason it just wasn't. But here's the thing. I'm the type of person that I don't like fully relying on one person. You need to have backup plans. And when it comes to Zeke, yes, run the ball as much as you can, but at the same time, you never know what's going to happen or what could happen. So have your backup plan. Have someone that you can trust and that can throw himself and catch the ball, like, what's his name?
Julio Beckham.
No, Hopkins. I was just breaking down a play yesterday. Yeah, so Hopkins from the Texans. He can throw himself and catch the ball and just make the play. Dak may not be as precise as he would want to be, but if he throws it right there,
like that,
yeah, exactly. You have a receiver that can help you out.
I'm really happy that Sammy Watkins isn't wasting away on this offense right now with the amount of money he would have cost.
I agree with that. All right, guys, we'll be back tomorrow. We'll wrap this thing up for you and let you know what's going to happen this weekend. Cowboys versus Texans. Still in for Nick Eatman, Dave Hellman, Amber Garcia. I'm Derek Eagleton. This has been The Break. Live on DallasCowboys.com. Radio.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!